Are you navigating the winding paths of spiritual growth? Are you ready to uncover the hidden pitfalls that may be hindering your journey to enlightenment? Imagine this. You've dedicated yourself to a spiritual practice, seeking clarity and connection. Yet, despite your efforts, you feel like something's missing. You've hit roadblocks, faced doubts, and perhaps even questioned your path. But fear not. Today, we're delving deep into the 7 anti-spiritual traps you must avoid at all costs. Stick around until the end to unlock the keys to true spiritual empowerment. To make a long story short, materialism often closes our eyes to the deeper truths of existence. How often do we prioritize possessions over inner peace? Materialism, with its focus on external wealth and status, can distract us from nurturing our spiritual selves. Instead of chasing after fleeting pleasures, true fulfillment comes from within. Materialism, in essence, is the belief that material possessions and wealth hold the key to happiness and fulfillment. In a world driven by consumerism and the constant pursuit of more, it's easy to fall into the trap of equating material success with personal worth. However, the reality is far more complex. At its core, spirituality is about connecting with something greater than ourselves, whether it be a higher power, the universe, or our inner essence. It's about finding meaning and purpose beyond the confines of material existence. Yet, when we prioritize material possessions over spiritual growth, we risk losing sight of what truly matters. Consider the allure of material wealth: flashy cars, designer clothes, luxurious homes. These external trappings may bring temporary satisfaction, but they often leave us feeling hollow and unfulfilled in the long run. It's like trying to quench our thirst with salt water. No matter how much we consume, we're left perpetually thirsty. True spiritual fulfillment, on the other hand, stems from cultivating inner peace, wisdom, and compassion. It's about nurturing qualities like gratitude, humility, and love, qualities that transcend material wealth and societal status. When we prioritize spirituality over materialism, we tap into a source of lasting joy and contentment that no amount of money can buy. Consider the story of John, a successful businessman who spent years climbing the corporate ladder in pursuit of wealth and prestige. Despite achieving financial success beyond his wildest dreams, John found himself feeling increasingly empty and dissatisfied. No matter how many possessions he acquired or accolades he received, there was always a sense of something missing. It wasn't until John stumbled upon a spiritual retreat that he began to question the emptiness of his materialistic pursuits. Through meditation, introspection, and connection with others on a similar path, John discovered a newfound sense of peace and purpose. He realized that the size of his bank account didn't measure true wealth, but the depth of his connection to himself and the world around him. Research published in the Journal of Positive Psychology has found a negative correlation between materialism and life satisfaction. Individuals who prioritize material possessions over intrinsic values tend to report lower levels of happiness and well-being. Moreover, studies have shown that materialistic attitudes are associated with higher rates of anxiety, depression, and interpersonal conflict. In essence, the pursuit of material wealth may come at the cost of our mental and emotional health, highlighting the importance of prioritizing spiritual growth and inner fulfillment. Now, let's explore the dangers of egoic attachments on our spiritual journey. How often do we cling to our identities and desires, unaware of their limitations? The ego, driven by fear and desire, creates barriers to our spiritual growth. It convinces us that our worth is tied to external achievements and validations, trapping us in a cycle of suffering. Our ego, often referred to as the sense of self, plays a significant role in shaping our thoughts, behaviors, and perceptions of the world. While the ego serves essential functions in our daily lives, such as maintaining a sense of identity and self-preservation, it can also become a formidable obstacle on our spiritual journey. Egoic attachments arise when we become overly identified with our thoughts, emotions, and desires. We cling to our identities, seeking validation and recognition from others. We attach ourselves to material possessions, relationships, and outcomes, believing that they define our worth and significance. However, these attachments are inherently fragile and transient, subject to change and impermanence. When our sense of self-worth is contingent upon external factors, we set ourselves up for disappointment and suffering. We become trapped in a cycle of craving and aversion, constantly seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. Imagine a young artist who prides herself on her talent and creativity. She pours her heart and soul into her work, seeking validation and praise from others. When her art receives criticism or fails to garner attention, she experiences intense feelings of rejection and inadequacy. In this scenario, the artist's egoic attachments to her identity as an artist and the recognition of her work have become sources of suffering. By tying her self-worth to external validation, she relinquishes her inner peace and freedom. Only by transcending her egoic attachments can she find true fulfillment and creative expression. Psychological research has shown that egoic attachments are associated with increased levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. Studies have found that individuals who derive their self-esteem from external sources, such as social status or material possessions, are more susceptible to psychological distress and emotional instability. Moreover, attachment theory suggests that insecure attachment styles, characterized by excessive dependence on others for validation and security, can hinder personal growth and interpersonal relationships. In essence, our egoic attachments create barriers to our spiritual growth and prevent us from experiencing genuine peace and contentment. Let's delve deeper into the detrimental effects of seeking external validation on our spiritual path. How often do we look to others for approval and validation, neglecting our inner wisdom? Seeking external validation stems from a lack of self-confidence and self-awareness. When we rely on others to define our worth, we relinquish our power and agency, perpetuating a cycle of insecurity and dependency. Seeking external validation is a common phenomenon in today's society, fueled by social media, peer pressure, and societal norms. From a young age, we are conditioned to seek approval and acceptance from others, often at the expense of our authenticity and integrity. When we prioritize external validation over inner wisdom, we become disconnected from our true selves. We adopt masks and personas to fit in with societal expectations, sacrificing our uniqueness and individuality in the process. This constant striving for approval leaves us feeling empty and unfulfilled, as we are never able to satisfy the expectations of others truly. Consider the story of Sarah, a young woman who bases her self-worth on the number of likes and followers she receives on social media. Obsessed with maintaining a flawless image online, Sarah spends hours curating the perfect posts and projecting an idealized version of herself to the world. However, despite her efforts to portray a picture-perfect life, Sarah feels increasingly disconnected from her true desires and passions. In this, Sarah's relentless pursuit of external validation has led her astray from her spiritual path. By placing her worth in the hands of others, she has sacrificed her authenticity and inner peace. Only by turning inward and reconnecting with her true self can Sarah break free from the cycle of seeking external validation and find genuine fulfillment. Studies have shown that excessive reliance on external validation is associated with low self-esteem, anxiety, and depression. Research published in the Journal of Research and Personality has found that individuals who seek validation from others are more likely to experience feelings of inadequacy and insecurity. Moreover, social media platforms, with their emphasis on likes, comments, and followers, have been shown to exacerbate feelings of validation-seeking behavior, leading to detrimental effects on mental health and well-being. In essence, the constant quest for external validation undermines our spiritual growth and prevents us from cultivating a deep sense of self-acceptance and inner peace. Let's explore how our attachment to labels and identities can hinder our spiritual evolution. How often do we define ourselves by external labels, forgetting our inherent essence beyond roles and identities? Our attachment to labels and identities arises from societal conditioning and the need for belonging. However, when we become overly identified with these roles, we limit our potential for growth and self-discovery. In a world obsessed with labels and categories, it's easy to fall into the trap of defining ourselves by external identities. Whether it's our profession, relationship status, or cultural background, we often use these labels as shorthand for our identity, overlooking the complexity and depth of our true essence. However, when we become overly attached to these labels, we risk losing sight of our inherent worth beyond societal roles and expectations. We confine ourselves to narrow boxes, limiting our potential for growth and self-expression. True spiritual evolution requires us to transcend these labels and reconnect with the boundless nature of our being. Imagine a successful lawyer who prides himself on his prestigious career and high social status. He works long hours, sacrificing his personal life and well-being in pursuit of professional success. However, despite his outward achievements, he feels a sense of emptiness and disillusionment. It's not until he attends a spiritual retreat and sheds his attachment to his lawyer identity that he discovers a more profound sense of purpose and fulfillment. In this, the lawyer's attachment to his professional identity has closed his eyes to other aspects of himself, preventing him from experiencing true happiness and fulfillment. Only by letting go of his labels and embracing his authentic self can he embark on a journey of spiritual awakening and self-discovery. Research has shown that excessive identification with external labels and identities can lead to feelings of alienation, anxiety, and depression. Studies have found that individuals who strongly identify with a single aspect of their identity, such as their profession or relationship status, are more susceptible to psychological distress and existential crises. Moreover, research in social psychology has demonstrated the fluid and dynamic nature of identity, highlighting the limitations of rigid labels and categories. In essence, our attachment to labels and identities can hinder our spiritual growth by obscuring our true nature and limiting our potential for self-discovery and expansion. Now, let's confront our fear of impermanence and explore how it holds us back from spiritual growth. How often do we resist change and cling to the familiar, unaware that actual growth lies in embracing the ever-changing nature of life? Our fear of impermanence stems from a deep-seated desire for security and stability. However, when we cling to the illusion of permanence, we deny ourselves the opportunity for growth and transformation. Impermanence is a fundamental aspect of existence, yet many people struggle to accept it. We resist change and cling to the familiar, hoping to find security and stability in an ever-changing world. However, this fear of impermanence only perpetuates our suffering and stagnation. When we cling to the illusion of permanence, we deny ourselves the opportunity for growth and transformation. We become trapped in cycles of attachment and aversion, unable to embrace the richness and diversity of life entirely. Actual spiritual growth requires us to surrender to the flow of existence, embracing the ebb and flow of change with open hearts and minds. Consider the story of Maya, a middle-aged woman who is terrified of growing old and losing her youth and beauty. She spends thousands of dollars on cosmetic procedures and anti-aging treatments, desperately clinging to the illusion of youthfulness. However, despite her efforts to defy the aging process, Maya finds herself feeling increasingly insecure and unhappy. It's not until Maya attends a meditation retreat and confronts her fear of impermanence that she begins to find peace and acceptance. Through mindfulness practice, she learns to embrace the aging process as a natural and inevitable part of life. Instead of resisting change, Maya learns to appreciate the beauty and wisdom that come with each passing year. Research in psychology has shown that our fear of impermanence is deeply rooted in our evolutionary history. The human brain is wired to seek out familiarity and predictability, as these provide a sense of security and survival. However, in today's rapidly changing world, this instinctual fear can lead to feelings of anxiety and resistance. Moreover, studies have found that individuals who are able to accept impermanence and adapt to change are more resilient and psychologically healthy. By embracing impermanence as a natural part of life, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and experiences, fostering greater resilience and well-being. Let's confront the shadows within and examine how our resistance to them impedes our spiritual journey. How often do we deny or suppress aspects of ourselves that we deem undesirable, failing to recognize that true healing comes from embracing our inner shadows? Our resistance to inner shadows stems from a fear of confronting our deepest fears and insecurities. However, when we deny or suppress these aspects of ourselves, we inhibit our growth and perpetuate patterns of self-destructive behavior. Inner shadows refer to the aspects of ourselves that we find difficult to acknowledge or accept. These may include our fears, insecurities, traumas, and unresolved emotions. While it's natural to want to avoid these uncomfortable aspects of ourselves, doing so only perpetuates our suffering and prevents us from experiencing true healing and transformation. When we resist our inner shadows, we give them power over us, allowing them to control our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. We may engage in self-sabotaging behaviors or repeat destructive patterns in an attempt to avoid facing our inner demons. However, true healing and liberation come from shining a light on these shadows and embracing them with love and compassion. Imagine a man named David who has struggled with anger issues his entire life. Whenever he feels overwhelmed or threatened, he lashes out in rage, causing harm to himself and others. For years, David has tried to suppress his anger, believing it to be a sign of weakness or inadequacy. However, it's not until David attends therapy and begins to explore the root causes of his anger that he begins to experience true healing. Through deep introspection and self-reflection, David discovers that his rage stems from unresolved childhood trauma and feelings of powerlessness. By acknowledging and accepting his inner shadows, David is able to cultivate compassion for himself and others, breaking free from the cycle of anger and self-destruction. Research in psychology has shown that the suppression of emotions, including anger, can have detrimental effects on mental and physical health. Studies have found that individuals who deny or suppress their feelings are more likely to experience symptoms of anxiety, depression, and chronic stress. Moreover, research in psychotherapy has demonstrated the effectiveness of techniques such as mindfulness and acceptance in helping individuals confront and integrate their inner shadows. By embracing our inner shadows with compassion and acceptance, we can pave the way for profound healing and transformation on our spiritual journey. Now, let's explore how our addiction to external stimuli distracts us from our spiritual path. How often do we seek solace in distractions such as social media, entertainment, and material possessions, unaware that true fulfillment lies within? Our addiction to external stimuli is fueled by a desire to escape discomfort and uncertainty. However, when we constantly seek outside sources of gratification, we neglect the inner work necessary for proper spiritual growth. In today's hyper-connected world, we are bombarded with endless distractions vying for our attention. From smartphones and social media to television and consumerism, we are constantly inundated with external stimuli that promise to fulfill our desires and alleviate our suffering. However, this addiction to external stimuli only serves to perpetuate our sense of dissatisfaction and disconnection. When we rely on outside sources of gratification to fill the void within, we become dependent on external circumstances for our happiness and well-being. We chase after fleeting pleasures and temporary highs, unaware that true fulfillment lies in cultivating inner peace and contentment. By breaking free from our addiction to external stimuli, we can reclaim our power and embark on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual awakening. Consider the story of Emily, a young woman who spends hours each day scrolling through social media and binge-watching television shows to escape from her feelings of loneliness and inadequacy. Despite her outwardly successful life, Emily feels empty and disconnected, unable to find meaning and purpose in her daily activities. It's not until Emily attends a mindfulness retreat and disconnects from her devices that she begins to experience a profound sense of inner peace and contentment. Through meditation and self-reflection, Emily learns to cultivate gratitude for the present moment and appreciate the beauty of life's simple pleasures. By breaking free from her addiction to external stimuli, Emily is able to connect with her true self and find fulfillment from within. Research has shown that excessive use of social media and digital devices is associated with feelings of loneliness, anxiety, and depression. Studies have found that individuals who spend more time on social media report lower levels of life satisfaction and subjective well-being. Moreover, research in neuroscience has demonstrated the addictive nature of external stimuli, with activities such as scrolling through social media triggering the release of dopamine in the brain's reward centers. By cultivating mindfulness and reducing our dependence on external stimuli, we can foster greater inner peace and well-being on our spiritual journey. Let's delve into the importance of embracing inner silence and how avoiding it hinders our spiritual growth. How often do we fill our lives with noise and distractions, afraid to confront the stillness within. Our avoidance of inner silence is driven by a fear of facing our true selves and the discomfort that arises in solitude. However, when we embrace silence and stillness, we open ourselves up to profound insights and spiritual awakening. In a world filled with constant noise and stimulation, the idea of sitting in silence can be daunting for many of us. We fear the thoughts and emotions that may arise when we're alone with ourselves, so we fill every moment with noise and distractions to avoid confronting the stillness within. However, it's in these moments of inner silence that we can find clarity, peace, and connection to our higher selves. When we avoid inner silence, we miss out on the opportunity to tune into our inner wisdom and intuition. We remain stuck in the cycle of external validation and seek fulfillment from outside sources, never realizing that true happiness lies within. By embracing moments of silence and solitude, we can quiet the chatter of the mind and tap into the deeper truths of our being. Imagine a busy executive named Sarah who spends her days juggling meetings, emails, and deadlines. Despite her packed schedule, Sarah feels emptiness and disconnection from herself and others. She fills every moment of her day with noise and distractions, afraid to confront the stillness within. However, during a weekend retreat in nature, Sarah is forced to confront her avoidance of inner silence. As she sits alone in the quiet forest, surrounded by the sounds of nature, Sarah begins to experience a sense of peace and clarity that she's never felt before. In the absence of external distractions, she's able to tune into her inner voice and reconnect with her true desires and purpose. Research in psychology has shown that regular practice of mindfulness meditation, which often involves periods of inner silence, is associated with numerous benefits for mental and emotional well-being. Studies have found that individuals who engage in mindfulness meditation experience reduced levels of stress, anxiety, and depression, as well as improved focus, attention, and self-awareness. Moreover, research in neuroscience has demonstrated that moments of inner silence activate regions of the brain associated with self-reflection, empathy, and emotional regulation. By embracing inner silence as a tool for self-discovery and spiritual growth, we can cultivate greater peace, clarity, and fulfillment in our lives. As we conclude our exploration of the 7 anti-spiritual things you must avoid, it's essential to reflect on the insights we've uncovered. Each of these factors, fear of impermanence, resistance to inner shadows, addiction to external stimuli, and avoidance of inner silence, plays a significant role in hindering our spiritual growth and preventing us from living authentically. However, by acknowledging and addressing these obstacles, we can begin to cultivate a more profound sense of connection, purpose, and fulfillment in our lives. Through practices such as mindfulness, self-reflection, and embracing silence, we can reclaim our power and embark on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual awakening. Remember, the path to spiritual growth is not always easy, and it may require courage, vulnerability, and dedication. But by facing our fears, embracing our shadows, and tuning into the wisdom of our inner selves, we can uncover the true beauty and richness of life. Thank you for joining us on this journey of exploration and discovery. May you continue to walk your path with courage, compassion, and an open heart. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insightful content on spirituality and personal growth. If you found this video helpful, consider sharing it with others who may benefit from its message. Until next time, may you find peace, love, and joy on your spiritual journey.